this is a practice that we're giving the, like, amazing tools to these little ones at such a young age, that all of a sudden they can just build a repertoire, a toolbox of things like, oh, I know this works for me. It always makes me feel better. All right, we're just going to jump right in. So we're going to, and again, my name is Lani Rosen-Gallagher, for those of you who don't know me. And I'm here with Full of Joy Yoga / Mindful Yoga Breaks. So I explained that whole deal in the first session. So if you want to know more about that, you can even go to my websites or watch the first session. I don't want to take up too much time about me this session. So we're going to start with our mindful body. So whatever that looks like for you, a mindful body. So for me, right in this moment, it's sitting crisscross, I say crisscross yoga sauce, on my mat and on the floor. But some of you might be on a bed or a couch or a chair, whatever it is, find a comfortable position. So we're going to start with learning a concept before we dive into our mindful minute practice. And we're going to learn about this concept called the weather report. And I sometimes flip-flop the order that I teach it with what I do, but today this is how I'm feeling like doing it, which I think is the beauty of this practice, is just kind of going with your gut in how you feel is best way to present this material. So I'm presenting this weather report to you. So in the sample card deck that I gave you, I think the weather report card is in there. And if not, if you decide that you want the card deck, it has like a little rundown of how to teach it. So I'm going to ask some questions. And usually when I do this workshop, it's live. And in my live workshops, obviously, I get a lot of feedback from whoever's taking it. So our feedback is going to be the chat. So anybody who feels like using the chat to answer my questions, that would be great. So this activity called the weather report is a way to allow students and anybody who's practicing the weather report to observe how you feel without letting your emotions take control. So thinking about that, why do we check the weather in the morning? So if you want to answer in the chat, or most of you guys probably know, why do we check the weather in the morning? What do we need? Why do we need to know what the weather is? Right? So because we need to know what to wear. And if you're thinking about like a school situation, what changes if it's like a rainy day, right? So we go from outdoor recess to indoor recess. We all know that. So when we think about what the weather is going to be like, we look outside and we have to decide, ooh, how are we going to dress and what activities are we going to do in our day that follow according to the weather. So on a day like this in the Northeast, if you're in the Northeast like me, would you put on your winter coat today? No, right? We wear like as little clothes as possible. It is super hot. So we can do this, but is it going to work? If we look outside, we say to the weather, I really don't like what's happening. I want it to be less humid and a much more beautiful sunny day. Is the weather going to listen to us? No. So we can't change the weather, right? So when the weather is whatever it is, we are the ones who have to change according to the weather, right? So we have that control, and then we respond accordingly. So we know we can't change the weather outside, just like we can't change how we're feeling, right? When you have an emotion, that's your emotion, right? So if you're feeling angry, are we allowed to be angry in that moment? Yeah. Are we allowed to be sad in that moment? Yeah. But the power that we have is in how we respond. It's like a superpower. I always tell the kids, it's your superpower. You can choose how to respond in all the situations. So when we do a weather report, we're actually going to use a weather word to label what our emotion is. Because sometimes we're not even sure how we're feeling in a given moment. There might be a lot of emotion. So I always like to give the example, when I'm about to do a workshop, my weather report, when I take that weather report and how I'm feeling, my body tells me I feel kind of like a hurricane. So lots of things are going on inside my body, and I need to figure out other ways of, I need to like figure out how I'm going to respond when my body is feeling like that hurricane. So when I am about to take do a workshop, sometimes I'm even driving to a school and maybe I'm late. Think about what element that adds to it. So that's my weather report. So when I go into a class in the morning, I like to have the kids just do an internal weather report. How am I feeling in this moment? And kids love to use weather words. So we always like to come up with all the different weather words that could be possibilities. So you guys can write some weather words that you might use in the chat. What are some weather words we can use that could be a way of describing how you're feeling in a given moment? Sunny, partly sunny, cloudy, foggy, stormy, so many others. The kids get very, very creative. They're like cloudy with rainbows, or, you know, like they love to come up with all kinds of very creative weather words to describe, because sometimes it's hard to label how you're feeling in a given moment. But what the important thing is to be able to do is to be able to label and recognize what's going on right now for you, so then you can best respond to it. So this weather report activity is a really fun one. The kids love it. And I want you to take your internal weather report right now. So just notice how you're feeling. We haven't even dropped into anything, right? So it could be coming off of whatever it is that happened right before you got into this workshop. So think about your weather report, and you guys can put your weather report in the chat if you would like. And I'm going to look at that chat and see if anybody has shared. Hazy, faces warm, breezy, right? There's so many different words that can be used for how you're feeling right now. Now, this is the important thing. Is the weather the same all the time? Like when it's hot and humid, is it always hot and humid? No, right? The weather changes just like our emotions. So we need to change according to our emotions and figure out how we're going to respond in all those different moments that go on throughout our day. So once we can identify what our emotion is, then we can figure out, well, what do I need to do for myself in this moment? So when I know I'm about to do a workshop and my body starts to feel like a hurricane, I basically have, now I've done this for so long, I have a list of things that I do that help me. Showing up early, that is like number one for me, because then that takes that element. That's something I have control over. So anything that you can control that can help you in these moments of feeling certain emotions. So maybe for you, and you're feeling foggy, what is it that might help you? Think about how you can come out of that fogginess in a moment where you need to, or how, if you're feeling maybe stormy, right? We're not the storm. That's just how we're feeling. So we're describing our emotion, and it's not what you are. They're not who you are. It's just how you're feeling in this moment. So maybe for you, you asking a loved one for a hug, or calling somebody on the phone. And I said this last week, make your list. So once you identify how you're feeling in a moment, have your list of what you know is going to help you in that moment. Be prepared. Does anybody, if you have any comments or questions about the weather report, feel free to put it in the chat, because I know I like to keep going, but sometimes when I teach these concepts, there might be something that you have that you want to share or add to the conversation before I move on. If there's anybody who has anything, take 5 breaths, sunny, warm, partly cloudy. Does anybody have anything they want to add or ask about the weather report activity? All right, and then we have a Q&A at the very end, so you can always ask it there. So now that we've identified how we are feeling right in this moment, did somebody, would you have children make a list? Yeah, I love, yes, and I do the weather report with preschoolers too, very simply. And yeah, we go through all your tools. So this is what I'm teaching. I'm teaching so many different tools that you can use in all of these situations that come up in your day that cause varying emotions. It's really great for kids now to know that, wait, I have this toolbox too, and I know all these different things that can make me feel better when X, Y, or Z happens, or when I'm feeling these certain emotions, or I'm feeling foggy or cloudy or whatever their weather word is. And so the more tools you give them, now they are building up their own toolbox of self-regulation and emotional regulation for them to be able to have that power and control over their own emotions. And that's what this is all about. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a practice that happens. I mean, think about for you as an adult, how long it's taken you to identify what helps you in situations. So this is a practice that we're giving the amazing tools to these little ones at such a young age that all of a sudden they can just build a repertoire, a toolbox of things like, oh, I know this works for me. It always makes me feel better. Like with kids and their lovies, or it could be anything really, that and they know that makes them feel better. So the first step though is really like recognizing and labeling what it is, how you're feeling in this moment, and that way that you can best respond. So we've done our weather report. So now we're going to take a mindful minute. And then after this mindful minute, we are going to take another weather report, a quick one, to just see, maybe this mindful minute changed or helped me in whatever way. I mean, maybe right now you are feeling sunny and you're all good and your wise owl's out and you're ready to learn. But everybody comes with something that's gone on before they got here. All right, so we're going to keep going. Find your mindful body, maybe find that little string, attach it to the ceiling. I also love to give this little cue with your hands. So, and I've had yoga teachers in my past, and I've always loved this cue, that palms up if you have everything you need right now and you have extra that you want to share out into the world. If you feel like you can use a little extra love or care or tenderness or whatever it is, put your palms down. So there's no right or wrong here. You identify if for yourself, if you can give out a little extra or if you need a little extra right now, and do that for yourself if that feels good. Again, I always give the option of closing eyes. It's never a must or have to. Kids who have been born in trauma sometimes do not feel safe closing their eyes. So you always give the option. So either close your eyes if that feels good to you, or look down in your lap. And we're going to sit up nice and tall. So we're going to do this practice of a mindful minute. So we're going to see if we can come here now with full presence. So I want you to think of something before we dive in that happened in the past. It could be before you got here. It could be 20 minutes before you got here. It could be this morning. It could be this past week, anytime in the past. And now I want you to think about, just switch to something that's your future. It could be right after this. It could be later tonight. It could be this weekend. It could be a few weeks from now. It could be what we're all thinking about, which I don't even have to name, right? That's our future. So put yourself there for a moment. Okay, now just come to where you are in this moment. And we're going to do a little mindful minute, and we're going to see if we can be here with full presence. So we're going to focus a little bit on our breath right now. So I want you to find your mindful body, and I want you to take a nice deep breath through your nose. And as you breathe in through your nose, notice how that breath feels in your nostrils. And then exhale either through your nose or your mouth, and notice your breath as it leaves your body. How does your body feel as you let your breath out? Let's try that a few more times. So inhale again, noticing the breath as it's filling up your nose, filling up your belly, filling up your lungs. And then as you slowly exhale, as slow as you can, notice what happens to your body as you exhale this breath. We're going to do this 3 more times. So let's take another deep breath, maybe even this time starting from your toes, letting that breath move all the way up your body, filling up your belly and your lungs, your nostrils, noticing how that feels. And then exhaling all that breath out. Just notice how it feels as you exhale the breath. Let's do that 2 more times, inhaling all the way to the top, from your toes to the top of your head. And then exhaling nice and slow. And do the last one on your own. And then you're going to gently open your eyes. And I want you to take your internal weather report right now. Come into presence. And maybe it's changed, maybe it's the same. You don't even have to write it in the chat. You can just notice it on your own and notice how that mindful minute helped you or not, and what came up, right? So when we practice a mindful minute, this practice of mindfulness, which we talked about last week, it's a practice to notice what's going on. So maybe we talked last time about our brains. What are our brains doing? They're thinking. We're thinking all day long, thinking about our to-dos, our worries, our things that make us angry, observations, all those thoughts. When we do this practice of a mindful minute, we're coming into that present moment, but also while we're doing it, we're noticing, what are those thoughts that are kind of spiraling out there? So as soon as we become mindful of our thoughts, it turns it around where our thoughts are not controlling us and we're taking that control back of our thoughts. So that's what it is. So the practice of mindfulness is allowing us to take control and making some observations. Oh, what is that thought that I'm thinking about that keeps coming up for me, and why? And letting you kind of like sit with that for a moment. Like, why does that thing keep coming up? And what can I do about it? So mindfulness practice is a practice. That means we're always practicing it for the rest of our lives. It's never going to be a perfect. We're never going to clear our brain of all thoughts because our thoughts are there. But the more we can take control over our thoughts, the more power we have, the more we can just sit with them, understand them, and work through them and figure out the best way to work through them. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the mindful minute or the mindfulness practice? All right. So we're going to keep going. We're going to revisit briefly the bulldog and the wise owl, and then we're going to move our bodies. So, oh, you know what? I left my wise owl and my bulldog in my car. I'm so sorry, you guys. I just realized. So I promise I will have them for you guys on Friday, because I did teach yesterday and I had my work bag out. So I'm sorry, Faye. So we have these two parts of our brain, and these two parts of our brain are working together and opposing each other in working with our emotions. So let's take our hands to this back part. Do you guys remember this back part? This is our bulldog. It's our protective brain. It's our amygdala. It's, by the time we're 2 years old, fully developed, our fight, flight, freeze response, right? Evolution has rigged us to be vigilant about all the threats out there in the world. This bulldog is always ready to protect us, right? It's our sympathetic nervous system that is activated when our bulldog senses something that doesn't make us feel safe. It's like a fire alarm that goes off. Fire alarms go off even when there's no fire. So that is what our bulldog does. It goes off when it senses something that could be a threat, right? And the last time we talked about that bear. So with 3-year-olds, you know what the bear is? The bear is a friend playing with a toy that they want. And as we get older, other things like your mom saying no, like get off your tablet, right? A kid is like, that is probably every parent's battle right now, is electronics. And it's a constant battle. And so each of us is going to react with our bulldog when things like that occur, different situations that cause us to be angry and worried and scared and overwhelmed and anxious. And we all feel these big emotions. And then our bulldog comes out when we're feeling a little bit threatened, and we react. But we also have this part of our brain, which is our wise owl. You guys can give your wise owl a little tap. And this is one fact about our wise owl, our prefrontal cortex, that I did not give you last time, was that, and you guys probably all know this anyway, is it takes 25 to 30 years before it's fully developed. So those of you with teenagers in your life or preteens, are they making good choices? Probably not, because this part of your brain that makes really good choices or helps you make good choices, it's learning, thinking, growing, all the important functions in our body happen with this part of our brain. But if it's not fully developed, it's hard to make all of those really good choices, especially if our bulldog is the one that's out and talking, feeling those threats, that being unsafe. So it's our parasympathetic nervous system that helps our bodies heal, rest, grow. And that's our wise owl. So when our wise owl is out, our body is just resting, digesting, and functioning properly. But when our bulldog is out and sees threats and feels unsafe, it's really hard for our body to do that. So thinking about that mindful minute, going back and kind of tying it together, the mindful minute, just that moment of just resetting your brain, noticing what's going on, and just coming into presence is one tool that we can use to help calm that bulldog and help us to respond better using your wise owl, because that's what it's all about. Working in a way to calm that bulldog so that we can, instead of reacting, we can respond. Take a moment, take a pause, and then respond. So what are the things that make us feel safe so that our wise owl is working, right? Human connection. And a lot of these things we're lacking in right now. So think about it: human connection, love, secure relationships, laughter, shared experiences form strong bonds with a community. We've been missing that a lot. Kids are missing that a lot. So think about what our bulldog must be going through in right now, all of us. Even this is a low level form of trauma for all of us, and people have varying levels going on in their own homes, in their work, like in their relationships with kids. Like, so much is going on that is so much bigger than it was pre-pandemic. So thinking about that, like all the things that make us feel safe and our wise owl to be properly functioning, we're kind of all in this place of not having that. So it is even more important that we develop tools, find tools to help us, because we're all in this, like I think of it as a little buzz, like this low level of anxiety that's just there about so many things in our world, not feeling safe. So the mindful minute is a great practice. And then I taught last week about our anchor breaths. So this is the poster, and this is going to be one of those things that if you want to purchase and download, you can. But you know, it's just another tool for you to use. Feel free. I mean, there are so many breathing exercises you can use. Kids really like visual. So if you want a visual for kids, this was something that was developed, that I developed for a visual to allow kids to have 6 different choices in front of them, so that it's a good reminder, right, of what I can do when my bulldog is out, right? When I'm feeling this certain emotion, this is a tool I can use. So what was it that Faye wanted us to do? She's not there anymore. So I was going to do the flower, but we were just going to re-practice one more. Did Faye, did you want to tell us which one we should do? We're going to do one of them right now.
Butterfly.
Butterfly. Okay. We will do butterfly. I love doing butterfly breath because there's so many modifications. This is the other thing I love to teach, is that if you can teach many modifications, then it allows everybody involved who's practicing to feel the control over, well, this works best for me in this way. So you can stand, you can sit crisscross yoga sauce, or if you need a little hip opener, get your body in that butterfly pose. Right? So I personally love to stand in butterfly breath because it just feels like a really great whole body breathing exercise. But I want you to choose what's best for you. Take those butterfly wings out to the side. I'm just going to show you. I have my butterfly card and it has all the instructions. So wings out to the side. You can pretend to be, use that imagery of whatever your wings are going to look like. You could be a monarch or many other kinds of butterflies. And as we inhale, remember your eyes can either be closed or looking down in your lap. We're going to inhale our wings up to the sky, and when we exhale, our wings are going to come down, just like as we inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up Exhale down. Let's do one more big butterfly breath. Inhale all that breath all the way up to the sky. And exhale it all out with a big sigh. And then just notice how you feel, right? So what I always encourage you, and when in your teaching and in your own practice, 3 to 5 breaths is what allows that bulldog to get calm. So I'm going to read you something before we get up and move our bodies. So I always like to share this. Yes?
From somebody, do you have kids move their legs up and down as well, or do you find that that would be too distracting or complex?
I love that question, because now on Zoom, if you're teaching in this way, kids actually have a lot more space to move and not have to worry about other kids. And now also when we're outside teaching, you're going to have a lot more space. So you can actually do more of a whole body movement. When I teach in a classroom and I have 26 kids on a rug, definitely doesn't work to do legs, right? Or you can do butterfly where the kids all spread out around the room. And that's a whole other thing I'm going to share with you, how I get them to do that. And we make a bubble space. But if you have the kids just like in their own home, I would use their whole body. I love it, because when I do we did stretch and hug last week. This was the new way I did it, is we stretched and then we hugged and we switched the cross of our legs. And I love doing that. So now you're in the unusual cross, the one that doesn't feel comfortable for you. So yes, butterfly, you can have them open, right? And then I love the idea of breathing with movement, because then that just becomes like the yoga practice with the mindfulness practice and the breathing, it all becomes interconnected. And that's the purpose of this. You know your kids, and if you think that would work with them, I think you should do it. There's not a one size fits all with this practice, but everything that I'm teaching you and things you've learned, it really is. So many modifications are out there so that everybody can do it in a way that feels good to them, because we all don't like the same things. Our bodies don't all work the same. And that's something important for kids to know. Because if you're a yogi, a practicing yogi, you're in a yoga studio, you're always watching the other people and saying, and then all of a sudden that self-esteem, your ego, all of these things come into play. But if it's your own practice and you know that your body doesn't work the same as other people's bodies, and I try to instill that in kids from a young age, that it's about your own practice and not what everybody around you is doing, right? So it's like, what is my body? How is it functioning in this moment? And our bodies all do different things and can do different things. And it varies even day to day. Some days I can touch my toes, some days I cannot. So it's really important for all of us to just think about this practice as being your own practice and evolving it in that way, as opposed to like competing with all the people around you and what they look like doing it. So let's see, what were we about to do? I think we were about to get up and do some yoga. Yeah? All right. So we're, in our own space, in our own home. So I'm going to give you many different choices of how you want to stand up. So in a classroom, I do not do roly-poly pop. When I teach preschoolers like Faye, she'd probably love this. We do a roly-poly pop if I'm out in a park, if I'm teaching on Zoom, I like to offer this. And if you're in a classroom, I just ask kids to get up in a way that maybe like challenges them, like try to stand up without using your hands, or try to stand up with as little movement as possible, or try to stand up with a big movement. So you can give all kinds of instructions on how to stand up. For those of you who work with little ones, roly-poly pop is really fun, and I'm going to show it to you. This is part of like my preschool classes. I do roly-poly pop. We roll back, we roll forward, and we come up to our feet and we pop. So I am not saying that you all have to do a roly-poly pop, but you can stand up. And then when I teach in a classroom, and I always get mixed up which direction I need to stand, I'm going to fix this again and make sure that you can see my whole body. So I might need to move this back a little bit. There we go. All right. So you're going to stand in a way that feels good to you. And we're going to find what I call, when there's a lot of kids, I'm not sure if I don't think I'm going back into a classroom like in an elementary school anytime soon. But I'm hopeful that I can actually Zoom into some classes that are teaching in class, but there's going to be way less kids. But when there were 26 kids in a class in New Haven, we called it our bubble space. So I had the kids do this, find your bubble space. So it meant that you had enough space around you. Now this bubble space now can mean like this is your 6 feet, right, away from the person next to you. So everybody has a bubble space. And I think about like how you can put circles down or hula hoops or a way for everybody to have their own space. But this is how you can envision like your own bubble space. So we're going to do a bunch of yoga poses now. So yoga is a kind of exercise, right? But this exercise is like whole body mind, right? Because we can bring in that breathing, we bring in that mindfulness. The first yoga sutra is yoga is now. So that's the mindfulness piece, being present. So, and we can relate it to taking your yoga off the mat in other situations, because there are going to be poses that are a little challenging for you. And what can you do when you're in a challenging pose, right? You can breathe through it and just notice how your body's feeling in it. And that relates to all the other things that are going on in our life. And when I teach this, I'm teaching it in a way, so I'm wearing yoga clothes and I'm barefoot, but I do this exact sequence everywhere. I do it in schools, I do it out in parks, I do it in yoga studios. So I make this as an accessible sequence that you don't even have to wear yoga clothes. You can wear regular clothes to do it. And you don't have to be a yogi to teach this yoga. These are just movements and shapes. So we call them shapes with our body. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to make different shapes with our body. So everybody find your, and I talk a lot, as you can see, I like to keep going. So I'm going to now come back into the present in what we're about to do. Find the 4 corners of both feet, press them into the earth. So find the earth here. Okay. Bring your palms together at your heart. And just notice how your hands feel pressed together. Maybe press them harder. Maybe your elbows come out. And just notice how that feels. This pose is called mountain, and I usually love to have everybody shout it back at me, and you're in your own home, in your own room, so just shout out mountain. I feel that it's best to learn when you repeat, so this is a way of getting it in there. So this is our mountain pose. In yoga, there are 4 ways to do mountain. This is one of them. We can bring our palms down, our fingers facing down, our grounding mountain. Everybody say mountain. And this one was our balance mountain, because in yoga, palms together means balance. And then we're going to reach and lift. And everybody say mountain. So this is our lifting mountain. So in the lifting mountain, what I love is that we're moving in many directions, right? We're pressing our feet, we're lifting, and then we're going to bring our palms together. So this mountain, if you have really tight shoulders, might not feel that good. And that's why this is a variation. But we're going to turn this mountain into a volcano. And a volcano has what coming out of it? Hot lava, right? So we're going to do a little explosion here. We're going to rub our hands together and we're going to say volcano. So we're going to get the blood pumping in our body a little bit. We're moving our body, letting that blood flow through. Our heart rate's going to increase a little. So if jumping isn't for you, step, right? So there's a modification. And when I taught the 4th through 12th graders, sometimes I didn't jump. I just stepped my feet out because, you know, giving them those options. Ready? Mountain, volcano. Let's do it again. 2 more times. Mountain, volcano. 1 more time. Mountain, volcano. And we're going to stay just like this, and we're going to leave our arms out. And I want you just to notice how you're feeling in this moment. We just did a little activity. You were sitting for a while. All right, let's breathe here a little bit. Notice how your arms are feeling. Big breath in, big breath out. All right, this is called standing star. Everybody say standing star. And then let's move our bodies just a little bit. Say twinkling star. And then we say standing star. And then we're going to do a little balance star, which also I call shooting star, like the stars that shoot across the sky. So we're going to balance on one leg, shooting star. And sometimes I even like to hold it here. And if you fall, that's okay. In order to find your balance, you need to lose your balance. Let's try to hold it for a count. 1 yoga, 2 yoga, 3 yoga, and try the other side. Notice how your arms are feeling in this moment. Ready, shooting star. 1 yoga, 2 yoga, 3 yoga, standing star, and one of my favorites, ready, dancing star. All right, move those bodies. Awesome. And then standing star, and we're going to fold our bodies in half. Now, everybody's folding their body is going to look different. So I'm folding my body. I have no idea if I can touch my toes today or not. Oh, I'm pretty close. And it doesn't matter if you can touch your toes or if you just need to hang out here with your hands on your knees. If you have a chair in front of you, put your hands on a chair, right? So many modifications here. So this is our folded star, and everybody can say folded star. And then lift one arm up to the sky, and this is called twisty star. Notice what happens in your body when you twist your spine in this way, looking up, reaching those fingertips up, bringing that hand down, and we're going to try the other side. Everybody say twisty star. Take a breath here. Let it out. Bring your hands down. Everybody shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Walk your hands up nice and slow. Why do you think I say slow? Right? So the blood just went from moving through your body, it went directly to your head. Our head went below our heart. So when the blood rushes there and you come up too fast, you can be dizzy. But it's really good for us. If you need a pick-me-up in the afternoon, so some of you who might have caffeine or chocolate, or you try to get like that extra energy in the afternoon, putting your head below your heart is a really great way of creating a little extra energy in your body and just waking up that wise owl. So it's a really great thing to do if you're working with students in the afternoon. Get their head below their heart, get the blood to rush there so that when you come on up, you're feeling a little more energy. But maybe you're not. So I want you are going to notice right now, bring your feet together or in a way that feels good to you, palms back together, and just notice how you feel in this moment after doing a little exercise. All right, we're going to keep moving, and I'm going to teach you a few more yoga poses, and then we're actually going to play a game. I love to incorporate games into the teaching of the yoga poses. It's a really great way to learn. So let's do a few more poses. We're going to I'm going to stand diagonal because I find that it's a little bit easier for you to see how my body's going to, the shape my body's going to take. So one foot comes forward and one foot is back. Now my back foot, let's see if you can see it. My back foot is going to be at a little angle, and my front foot is going to be a little bit more off to the side. So they're on train tracks. They're not on like a balance beam. All right. And then you're going to bend that front knee, reach your arms up to the sky, and this is called warrior one, and you're going to say warrior one. Great. Take a breath here. Let it out, and then we open our arms, and sometimes I move my back foot back just a little bit to give myself a little more space in my body, and I stretch that front arm as far. So this is something kids don't do. Sometimes they twist. Take the same arm, same knee, should be out. Bend into that knee a little deeper, and this is called warrior two. Everybody say warrior two. Great. You're going to take this back hand. It's going to go on your back straight leg. As you inhale that top arm all the way up to the sky. And this is called peaceful warrior. So everybody say peaceful warrior. Take a breath here. It's good to have those reminders to breathe because these are poses where you tend to hold your breath. Exhale. Come back to warrior two. Now we get to strain this leg. So notice how then that thigh is feeling right now, right? You're deep in here. Take a breath in, straighten it up. Feels so good. Ready? Come down. Bring your hand wherever it lands and look up. So notice the shape of my body, the shape of my legs, the shape in between my arm and my leg. What shape is that? It's a triangle. So this pose is called triangle. So looking up to the sky. A lot of hips and backs tend to do a little popping and cracking in this pose. So I don't know if that's you right now. So let's take a breath here, and we're going to pull ourselves right back up to stand. All right, when I'm in a classroom, we basically bring our hands back together, we bring our feet back together, and we notice how we feel. When I'm teaching kids at home or in a preschool, I'm just gonna give you this other option so you can do it, and we switch feet. We do this thing I call superhero switch, where we switch our feet like that. Now, the thing is, if I'm in a classroom with 26 kids, that is definitely not something I will do. So we bring our hands and our feet back together. And then this is the part that incorporates a lot of that mindfulness, is just noticing, okay, which side of my body did I just stretch? Because I don't say left or right. And I like to do that so that you start becoming mindful and aware of your body and what's happening and what body parts you've stretched. So now it's time to step the other foot back. Which foot was that? So see if you can figure that out in your own body. No? All right. So here we go. Same thing on the other side. We're going to move through it a little bit quicker. Bend that front knee, reach those arms up to the sky. Say warrior one. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, open up. Warrior two. Take a deep breath in, reach that back hand back, top arm up. Exhale, warrior, a peaceful warrior. Ready? Bring that arm out, straighten your leg, bring your hand down. Who remembers the name of this one? Triangle. Great. And then we're going to pull ourselves up with an inhale. Bring your hands and your feet back together. Nice job, everyone. Just notice how you feel. Notice, maybe even take a weather report here. Notice any shift you feel in your energy level. Notice the shift you feel in your emotional state, any emotions you're having. Just notice. Because this is where you compile your list from this. What makes me feel better when? Right? What do I need? Is it a few stretches? Is it some breaths? Whatever it is. All right, let's do one more pose before we get into our game. So we're going to inhale our arms up to the sky, and we're going to sit in our chair. Yes, chair pose is very intense. Imagine that chair underneath you, right? And we're going to do a little elevator chair here. I love this. Ready? We get a little lower, get a little higher, get a little lower, a little lower. Whoop, pause, take a breath. Things get challenging, right? We breathe. Nice job. All right, now we're going to get into a little baby chair, just a little baby chair. And then we're going to get in a big, big papa's chair, really big chair. Good. Now we're going to get into grandma's rocking chair. Lots of variations on chair that are kind of fun, right? And then we're going to inhale, stand all the way up, shake out one leg, whew, shake out the other leg, and shake out those arms. Awesome. All right, so we're going to play a game. And this is a game called Wise Owl Says. I'm just going to peek right over in a drawer over here. I think I have an extra Wise Owl. I do. Yay. So Wise Owl Says. So this is my Wise Owl named Swoops. Remember Wise Owl Brain? So this is like a game that we play. I'm going to put you guys on gallery so I can see everybody playing, whoever wants to play. So this is a game called Wise Owl Says. So we're using our Wise Owl part of our brain. Faye could probably tell us, what is this game like?
What is this game like?
What's Wise Owl Says sound like?
Simon Says.
Oh. You got it. Yeah, so this is a game like Simon Says. So what's going to happen is you're going to use your Wise Owl and see if you can remember the poses I taught you. So when I say Wise Owl Says, you're going to do the pose. But if I don't say Wise Owl Says, should you do the pose? All right. I will demonstrate only if everybody gets stuck. But I think you guys can do this. All right, you ready? Turn on that Wise Owl Says, the Wise Owl. I call this mindful minds, right? Because we're just like giving it a little tap, this part of our brain, turning on our Wise Owl. It's ready for action, ready to learn, ready to think. All right. Wise Owl Says mountain. Pick your favorite. Remember, there were 4 ways. Pick your favorite mountain. Great job. Wise Owl Says twisty star. Ooh, who remembers twisty star? Oh, I see a few of you. And if you don't remember, I will do it also. Nice job, everyone. All right. Chair. Oh, wait, did Wise Owl say? Wise Owl didn't say. Go back to your twisty star. All right, Wise Owl says chair. There you go. Pick your favorite chair. Maybe it's Big Papa's chair or Grandma's rocking chair. All right, Wise Owl says warrior 2. Let's see if you remember warrior 2. I know the warriors sometimes gets a little hard. Great, warrior 2. Okay. Peaceful warrior. Oh, wait, did Wise Owl say? No! Wise Owl says peaceful warrior. There we go. Wise Owl says mountain. Standing star. Ooh, good job, everyone. Wise Owl says standing star. There you go. All right. And Wise Owl says mountain. Awesome job, you guys. All right. So before I move on from there, I do want to see if you guys have any comments or questions, because we're going to keep going. And if you have a comment or question, I'd like to just answer it right now. You guys are good? All right. Good. All right. And if something comes up, I'm happy to stop and answer it. All right. So we're going to keep going. And I'm actually going to sit. You guys can sit for a moment, but we're going to stand up again because we're going to move into one. Yeah. Oh, there is a question. Okay.
Question pop in about wheelchairs.
Oh, yeah, wheelchairs. So I do teach a few kids who are in like walkers or wheelchairs. So it's just about the movement of their arms, if they can do it. And hopefully they have a para or somebody who can help them move their body in the way that works for them to make it work. But they don't have to move their body. I mean, this is all like, you do what works best. And I like to say that to the kids who have other limitations. I say, you do what works best in your body. You know what movements work, and we don't want to hurt our body. We're here to stretch our body, but we don't want it to hurt. So if it hurts, then that is a sign that you shouldn't be doing that. And we know that all of our bodies do not work the same. We all have different kinds of limitations. So when I make a certain shape in my body, you do it in a way that works for your body, because your body is not going to look like my body, no matter what our body's, limitations or what we can do. So I want everybody to take it as their own practice, no matter what their limitation is. So if the only part of your body you can move is like your hands, then move your hands and imagine in your mind that your entire body is stretching out like that standing star, but do it with using your hands or doing it using your face or your toes. Get all the body parts involved that can do that pose. And if anybody else here has expertise in that and wants to share, I'm always open to learning, because I don't know everything. And I'm here also as a teacher and a student. And I love to hear what these teachers are so smart. And you guys might have something that you do with your students when you know they have limitations. So always feel free to share in the chat so other people can see if you have something that you do with your students. I don't have all the answers. I just know what works for me in what I'm doing, but other teachers probably have come up with other things. Did anybody share anything? Yeah, people are sharing awesome stuff right now. So you guys, in seated, we do this to experience as an individual seated, and that way I can give prompts to facilitate. Yeah. How do you explain the difference between feeling pain and feeling a stretch? Yeah, so that's a hard one, because sometimes stretches are a little painful and kids don't really know the difference between this as a stretch. If it's like a real ow moment, just come back just a little bit. Come back just a little bit and see how that feels. You don't ever want to put your body in a place of such a deep stretch that you're like, ow, ow, ow. And you have kids in a class who are going to say, ow, ow, ow. And I always say to them, all right, if you're saying ow, 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 it means that you've gone too far. And so just pull back a little bit from that stretch. Because sometimes, you're right, that is a great question, because sometimes kids who haven't really stretched their bodies, they really don't know what a stretch feels like. And so a stretch shouldn't hurt in a way where you are saying, ow, ow, ow. And we want to be gentle on our bodies. How many bodies do we have? We have one body. This is our body. We need to take care of it. So just make sure that you are doing things in a place and in a way that feels good. And stretches sometimes could be uncomfortable, right? So when we're sitting in that a good example too is you're in this chair pose, right? It could feel like a little bit of an ow, but it's more like a discomfort. Like this is just not that comfortable to stand in for a very long time, right? So when we feel that discomfort and it's feeling like, oh my goodness, I can't push any harder, I can't do it anymore, take a breath, breathe through it, and then see how far you can push it till you can't do it anymore. But that also is a good way to kind of see the difference between like something that we like that feeling of discomfort that I don't think I can push that hard, or I don't think I can push any further, to a place where you're like really hurting your body. Yes, Jenny.
Great, also trauma-informed way to think about it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, is that when you give humans a container for how long they might be someplace, then they are able to judge whether they'll choose to stay. So if you say something like, we're going to sit in our chair for 5 breaths, and I know there might be lots of strong feelings. And if it feels not good, you can always come out. But if you feel like if you breathe, you could stay with us, it's only 4 breaths left. And psychologically knowing that something is going to end and that you have the choice to stop before then allows people to make a choice about whether so they don't feel trapped in a sensation, I guess.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jenny. That was so clear. That's great. I love being a student too as I'm teaching, so thank you. Any other questions that any of one of us could help answer? All right, I think we're good. All right, so we're going to keep moving into superhero breaths. So I love to teach about superheroes with kids because kids from all over the world can relate to superheroes. And I like to talk about superheroes in that way of, I'm just going to come sit in my chair for a moment. So with superheroes, think about the qualities a superhero has, right? So kids will shout out they're brave, they're strong, they have superpowers, they fight crime, they are saving the world. And so if we can relate the idea of the superhero to our own personal lives, like we all have special things that we can do, right? So we have our own superpowers. Even being able to breathe and make good choices, that's a superpower. But things that we're good at, right? So everybody has a few things that they're really good at and that makes them special. That's a superpower. And that makes us a superhero in our own life. But now thinking out in the outside world right now, like there are a lot of people out there who we can consider a superhero, who are being brave and strong and helping save people. Who are those people, right? The doctors, the nurses, the teachers, the firefighters, the essential workers who are giving us food, like all of these people, so mom and dad, right? Everybody who's out there taking care of you to make sure you have the things you need to keep you safe. There are so many superheroes out in the world. So while we do watch these movies that, take the superhero idea and, put it on the big screen, we can relate it to our own world and our own personal lives of how we too can be superheroes. And kids love superheroes. So we created a bunch of breathing exercises that are our superhero breaths. And so now I have 6 cards and I would love to be able to make more because there's only one female, which is not okay. So we need more. And my son Zephyr and we've come up with many more breaths with many more. So I'm just going to teach you all the superhero breaths we know, but I always put it on the kids because they're really good at this. And then they come up with their own creative breaths because we're trying to get kids to self-regulate, take this power and control. And if you can teach it in just doing like a superhero breath, like they're going to do a Wonder Woman breath or a Superman breath, And if that's the kind of breath that they're going to take, then that's the breath that they're going to take. And they're fun and they do the same job as any of the other breaths that we're going to do. But I like that they're a little more active and whole body because we're going to stand and do them. But I also have taught them sitting. So you can do it sitting, you can do it standing. I'm going to stand. So these are what the cards look like. And then on the back has the pictures of the kids. But I also have a whole bunch that are not on the cards and a whole bunch of videos of us teaching all the different ones. And if you have kids in your life who love superheroes, you guys can make up your own superhero breaths. You can make up, like I've had kids say, I have a ballerina breath. They come up with all their characters that they like, a Moana breath, whatever it is, like let them be creative. And then all of a sudden now they own it and it's theirs. All right, so stand up if you would like to, or continue sitting. I'm gonna put this back on speaker view. All right, so we're gonna start, and I also like to teach these the same way I taught the other breaths with the number cards and the big dice. So doing it in a game kind of way is fun. All right, let's start with our powerful female Wonder Woman. All right, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And you're going to take your arm out. This is your lasso. And we're going to inhale, swing your lasso. And then you're going to exhale and you're going to throw it. So her purpose, Wonder Woman, was to catch the bad guys. So I had a teacher say, we use it to catch all our big emotions that we don't want. So we catch up these big emotions that we're having right now and we kind of throw them out the window to think about how we could, that as a way to deal with them in that moment. So if you're feeling really angry, let's catch that anger right now, what you're feeling angry about. And we're going to throw it out there. You could also, let's switch arms and legs, catch all the people you love in your lasso, right? So you turn it around. Ready? We inhale and exhale. Now you have all the people you love by your side in your imaginary lasso. All right. So the next one we're going to do is Incredible Hulk. Let's see. Okay, ready? We're going to do 2 feet together. So we inhale our arms up like this, big inhale. And then we step out to the side. See how powerful we feel? Pretty good, right? Inhale up. Exhale, open. That's a fun one. Inhale up. One more time on the other side. Exhale. And I usually like to breathe out through my mouth with this one, but you do it in a way that feels good to you, right? This is your superhero breath. And we're going to kind of go through these a little bit quickly just to make sure that we have enough time because we only have 15 minutes left. All right, flash and flash breath. Flash breath. All right, ready? So this is a crossing the midline breath. So when we cross the midline, right, so we're going to do hand and opposite foot. So we go like this as we inhale, exhale down. Other side, inhale up, exhale down. Oh, and I forgot to say, sometimes with flash, I'll say to the kids, because you work with a group of kids who have a lot of energy, say, what do you know about Flash? He's fast. So ready? We're going to just move our body super fast, get out some energy. Ready? Really, really fast, and then freeze. Really, really fast, and then freeze. Okay, now we're going to do the breath. Slow it down. Ready? We're going to do inhale up, exhale down. And you know what? This is hard. Crossing the midline with a breath and a balance is not easy. I don't correct kids. Let them do it in the way that works for them. Inhale up, exhale down. All right, next one. Batman breath. So a lot of these my son helped me make up, and then I've had kids help make up. So really all of these are kid driven, which is kind of makes it even more fun. All right, this is another balancing breath. When we inhale, or we throw our cape off our shoulders and we lift up a leg. Inhale like this. Exhale, close that cape. I'm going to cough for a second. I'm sorry. All right. Oh, actually, let me get a drink of water. You guys try that on the other side. Let me see you do that. Inhale up. And then exhale, close. Yeah, inhale up. And all right. Spider-Man breath. This one happens to be like the overall favorite. Kids love Spider-Man. I am convinced that they're born like doing this with their fingers. Like every kid does this constantly. I don't know if you notice, like all the preschoolers, they're always doing this. So, but if this is really hard, small motor, it's just not accessible to some kids' fingers, I tell them just put out a thumb and a pinky, put out a pointer. Like, no, there's no right or wrong here. Just let them do whatever feels good to them. 1 foot forward. You could do the 2 fingers in. We inhale, exhale. What is this in sign language? I know you guys know, some of you. I love you. Let's blast out instead of webs. Let's blast out some love this time. Ready? Inhale. And I always imagine that I'm sending it right over like the webs and the love to all the kids I'm teaching, and they're sending it right back at me. I always have that imagery and I love it. All right, Superman breath. All right, we're gonna take our hands in fists. I'll stand sideways so you can see my body. So we take 1 foot back, 1 foot forward. We inhale, exhale. So you can lift that leg or not. And this could be Supergirl as well. And then we'll do the other side. Inhale, exhale. All right, so I'm going to teach you quickly some of the newer ones. So Captain Marvel, of course, we have it coming out of our hands. So it's like inhale, exhale, which is kind of nice. Inhale. So that's Captain Marvel. Doctor Strange, if Zephyr was here with me, he would probably be correcting everything I do because he doesn't ever think I do it right. He always believes that he is the one since he made them up. But this is how I envision it, and you guys can take it to, teach it to a kid, they'll probably correct it. This is Doctor Strange. You go like this. Inhale. And then there's something really soothing about that one. Inhale. And then this one is pretty cool. This is Iron Man. So I'm going to make it so you can see my feet. So we inhale our hands up, and then we exhale, and we're going to fly. So imagine that you're flying. We inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then last one we have is Captain America. I'm sure there are more, but just you get the gist. Captain America, we take our shield. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I think would be fun if any of you guys had a superhero and maybe wanted to make one up for us. Does anybody have one? And that's okay, no pressure. Oh, you have one, Faye?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called.
Go ahead.
Well, it's.
What superhero do you want to make up?
The Pokeball.
A
A Pokemon one?
Pokemon?
Poke.
How would it go?
It will go like this. The Pokemon. So it's being down on Pokemon Go.
Okay, show us.
And what you do is you creep around the Pokemon.
Should we inhale when we do that?
Inhale. So you
And then exhale. So we creep around with a big inhale. And then we exhale. I love it, Faye. Thank you. I think Zephyr came up with some Pokemon ones back in the day. And so on my YouTube channel, I have like all these videos of all kinds of breaths that he created too, just like Faye. So that's what you do with the kids in your life, right? Let them make up a breath for their favorite character. You can guide them, facilitate it. Like, when are you going to do the inhale? And when are you going to do the exhale? But now you're giving them the power, again, giving them that control of what they need to use. And I'm going to tell you like the quickest little story is my car one time during a snowstorm was towed off my street. So think about my bulldog, what happened when that happened. Not happy about it. And Zephyr came over to me. He was probably like 4, and he said, Mama, you need to do a superhero breath right now. I want you to pick your favorite. What's your favorite? I'm like, Wonder Woman. He's like, let's do a Wonder Woman breath. So my kid, in that moment, he was like, I see your bulldog's out, and this is what we're going to do to help you get calm. Did it change the fact that my car was towed? Did it change that I was angry? No, but I was able to like take a moment and be like, okay, this is what I need to do to resolve this problem instead of getting myself all worked up. And so that was like an amazing little lesson from a kid who has been taught these tools and was able to then use it on me. And that was great. And I love that story because it's just so real. It's so real. All right. So the last thing, I just want to see what I have here. So the last thing I was going to do, and I don't, where's my singing bowl? Oh, it's in the kitchen. Oh, God. So the last thing I was going to do was a whole big long sequence that we don't have time for. Oh, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to finish with a relaxation body scan activity because somebody last time, and I wrote that down, asked me about doing like yoga nidra for kids. So we're going to do it as in like a body scan. And then on Friday, we'll do a few of my I have a few mindful listening activities that I like to do, and the chime is my number one. So I'll make sure I have my bag with all my tools in that. But the body scan is the one that I really wanted to end with today. It's perfect. So now I'm going to give you a choice here as I do. So you're going to make your choice of either sitting, or you can even lie down if you want, if you have a spot to lie down. So I do a lot of teaching in preschools, as I've told you, and they get to do an actual relaxation in the preschools where they're lying down. But I do this body scan all over the place, regardless of whether kids are lying down. They could be sitting at desks and be resting their head. They could be just sitting on the rug. So there's really no right or wrong of how to do it. So you choose your body position for this one. So however you're choosing to sit or lie down, whatever is beneath you, I want you to imagine that it's holding you. So if you're sitting on a chair or a couch, or you're sitting on the floor, or you're lying on a mat, or you're lying on a bed, wherever you are, just imagine that surface is holding you, and allow your body to kind of sink into it and relax a little bit more, a little deeper. All right, we're going to start with our toes, and we're going to relax our toes and maybe even give them a little wiggle when you do it. We're going to relax the top of your feet and then relax the bottom of your feet. Relax your ankles. And as I say each body part, just imagine what that means for that body part to relax. Maybe it's sending thoughts there or breath there, or maybe it's moving it. Kids tend to move those body parts when I call them out. Relaxing your shins. Relaxing your knees. Relaxing the top of both legs. Relaxing the bottom of both legs. Relaxing your hips. Relaxing your chest. Relaxing the front of your body. Relaxing your back and the back of your body. Relaxing your shoulders. Relaxing your elbows. Relaxing your wrists. Relaxing the top of your hands. Relaxing your palms. Relaxing each finger. Maybe even giving them a little wiggle before they come to stillness. Relaxing your neck, relaxing your ears, relaxing your forehead, relaxing your scalp, relaxing your eyebrows and your nose, relaxing your whole body from your head to your toes. And just stay here for another moment. Let's see if we can take a breath now from the tip of our toes to the top of our head as we are lying here relaxed or sitting here relaxed. And let it all out with a big sigh. Before we roll up to sit, I want you to notice any sound coming from the room you are in. Just notice a sound. And maybe notice a second sound from the room you are in. And I've been teaching a lot outside this summer, and this makes for a great mindful listening activity when they're really relaxed. Just noticing different sounds. And see if you can notice one sound coming from outside or outside the room. And just notice it. And wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, wiggle your body, wiggle your nose. Quietly and gently, I want you to roll up to sit if you are not. And if you are sitting, I want you to give your knees a big squeeze. Give yourself that big hug, big squeeze. And come back to present. And maybe if your eyes were closed, opening them up. And just notice how you're feeling in this moment. So thank you all so much. There's one thing I wanted to share with you before we go, or have the Q&A, is all the tools that I use in all the classes, like the card deck and the poster and then the superhero cards, and then I have all kinds of other stuff on my website. I will give you a code. It would be, Jenny's going to give it, it's United We Own. When you put that in as a coupon, you would get 15% off of anything that you wanted to purchase. But remember, you also, if you have any financial needs, talk to Jenny to get that stuff. But also all of this, my intention isn't always to sell my stuff, but to just teach all these tools. So know that if like you don't have them, all of this stuff can be taught without anything, because that's the beauty of our breath. It's with us, it's free, and it's always here. So just know that all of this stuff can be done regardless of whether you have materials or not. So.
Thank you so much, Lani. Oh my goodness, it's been amazing to see in real time with two different kids of two different ages how engaged they are, how much they love it. And thank you everybody that has been here. And